So before we get into this video, just want to let you guys know, today's video is sponsored by TaraLee.store. As soon as you start thinking about wanting to start a business, you want to start saving for that business. If you already have some money saved up, congratulations, you're already a step ahead. You can use that money that you have saved to use as your upfront investment for your business. But if you don't have any money to start a business, which most likely you don't since you're watching this video, and no matter which way you look at it, it does take some sort of upfront investment to start a business. You can't start a business with no money, so you are going to have to start saving. And even if that means just putting $5 back a month, that's better than nothing. That's the first step. And use this time while you're saving up money to plan everything out for your business. The next things I talk about in this video will give you a good idea of things to plan for your business. Even though you can't start your business right away, look at it as a positive because now you'll have more time to think about what you're doing and what you want to do for your business instead of just jumping into it. Pros and cons to everything, right? So once you know what you want to sell, only pick a couple things in that category. So if you want to sell skincare products, let's use body scrubs, for example. Say you want to sell body scrubs. Typically, I don't know, those are sold in like 4-ounce jars. So you want to think about what other product can you sell in 4-ounce jars. That way you only need to buy 4-ounce jars, but you're selling 2 different products. You could sell something like body butters. And not only that, they would need the same size labels, which would make things easier for you. And they also can use similar ingredients. Both of them need plant oils. So you can buy sunflower oil, which would only be 1 item, but you're using them in 2 different products. So you're cutting costs doing things this way. And not only that, since they're similar in size, they're both 4-ounce jars, you would need the same kind of packing material to ship them out. So try to think of starting with products that are different products but have in need similar materials and ingredients or equipment to be made. So that way you need less money up front, but you can still sell a few different items to hopefully increase your sales. Also, another perk of doing this, since you're selling 2 different products that need the same ingredients, that means you might need to buy that ingredient in larger quantity. So typically when you buy ingredients in a larger quantity, it's cheaper by weight. So then that will increase your profit margins for both of your products as well because your ingredient is cheaper by weight since you're buying it in larger quantities. And of course, having higher profit margins will obviously increase your profits and you will be able to make more money quicker to invest back into your business to grow your business. So now that you know what you want to sell, you need to purchase the supplies. So at this time, only purchase the supplies that are required to actually make the item, not to ship it out. So go on whatever website it is that sells the supplies you need. Typically, there are several different websites you can purchase supplies from. You want to go onto all those websites and compare prices. And make sure you include shipping as well, because sometimes websites will sell an item for cheaper than other websites, but then once you take their shipping into consideration, it'll end up being more expensive. So take shipping costs into consideration and make sure you search the internet for coupon codes just in case. Keep tabs on how much all your supplies cost. I have a spreadsheet of all the ingredients that I use to make my skincare products, and I use grams to measure out my ingredients. So what I do is I write down the cost of all my ingredients in grams. So if I buy 5 pounds of sunflower oil for $30, I do the math and I figure out how much that sunflower oil costs per gram. So then anytime I make something, if I need like 100 grams of sunflower oil, I can easily calculate that since my spreadsheet will tell me exactly how much 1 gram of sunflower oil costs. And I recommend doing this with whatever you sell because you really want to keep tabs on how much all your material and supplies cost so you can accurately calculate how much that item costs you to make. And then that way you can accurately price it to make sure you're making a profit because you're starting a business on a budget. So you really want to make sure that you can use that money that you just made from the item you sold and reinvest that right back into your business. So I have a whole video all about how to price items to make sure you're actually making a profit. And I do include labor cost in that as well. Go watch that video if you want to know how to price your items. So now that you have all the supplies it takes to make your items, start making them. While you're making all your items, you can also keep track of how long it takes you to make the items, so then you can easily calculate your labor costs. So now that you have your little collection of all your items made, then you can start selling locally. Since it obviously costs money to sell online because there's listing fees, there's website fees, gotta pay for shipping, there's all kinds of stuff that goes into selling online. If you don't have money for that, just start selling locally. You can post your stuff on the Facebook buy, sell, trade, post pictures of like your skincare products, post pictures of your jewelry, be like, hey, look at these, super cute. You wanna buy some? Hit me up. We can meet at the Walmart parking lots. Is that just my town? Everybody meets at the Walmart parking lot to swap their items. Or you can like take your stuff to work, be like, hey, Caitlin, look at this. It's blue, it matches your eyes, it looks super good. Like, you want it? Like, whatever you need to do, wherever you may go, take your things, show them to people, sell your stuff in person and locally. Try to make that moolah to reinvest into your business to go into the next step, which is selling online, which is exactly where all the money is. Trust me, you'll make a lot more money selling online. So if you weren't selling a lot in person, don't get discouraged. So it does obviously take money to start up selling on the internet. Whatever method you may choose, if you want to start an Etsy store, you want to sell on Amazon, there are fees that go into all of that. And not only that, you need to obviously ship out your items. So there's going to be shipping fees, processing fees. If you want to start a website, you might need to hire a web designer. And also you'll need to buy a domain, which I actually have a coupon code for you guys if you want to purchase your domain with .store. I have a coupon code, it's TaraLee, all capital letters, and you can get your own custom domain for only $1.99 and it'll last you an entire year. Click the link down in my description box. It'll take you to the .store website. You can pick out your own custom domain and it'll be powered by .store. So instead of your domain name being something like TaraLee.com, it would be TaraLee.store. So then your domain name will tell your customers exactly what your website is. It's a store. Even if you don't want to create your own website, you just want to have an Etsy shop or an Amazon store, you can still buy a .store domain name and link it to your Etsy store. So if you go to TaraLee.store, it'll actually take you to my Etsy shop. That will make things a lot easier also to tell people about your Etsy shop instead of saying, oh yeah, go to Etsy, type in TaraLee skincare. I can just say, go to TaraLee.store. And if you didn't know, 70% of domain availability checks actually fail. So there's a really high percentage that the domain name you want is already taken. So .store's got you covered. You'll most likely be able to get the name that you already want because it's not overcrowded like .com and .net are. So go check out .store. Click the link down in my description box. Type in your custom domain. Use my code TaraLee, all capital letters, to get it for only $1.99 to show your support for this channel. And also, thank you so much .store for partnering with me to create this video. I really appreciate it. So once you have your website set up, your Etsy page, your Amazon page, whatever it may be, now's the time to start taking your product photos and cut pennies. You don't need to buy things that you don't need. You might think you need an expensive camera, a ring light, backdrop, props. You don't need that stuff. Just wait till a nice sunny day, take your photos in front of a well-lit window. There's your ring lights. Or you can even use like printer paper as a white backdrop. Use a white coffee table, a kitchen countertop, or a kitchen table. Do your parents have a really nice countertop? Go to their house, take pictures at their house. Like, go to do you have a rich friend? Go to their house and take your product photos at their house because it probably looks very pretty and you don't have to fix or move around anything. I know I did that starting out. I went to my stepdad's house and I took a lot of photos there because he had a really nice bathroom. You don't need an expensive camera. Use your smartphone. We all have a smartphone nowadays. They take great photos. Just use that. You might need a photo editor. I know I personally needed one starting out, but you can do some great things with free photo editors. Props, just search around your house for like props that will look good with your items. That's what I do. I have lots of fake plants, so I like using fake plants as props. Whatever works with whatever you're selling. I'm sure you have something, or your parents have something, or your best friend has something. Just try to do it for free or as cheap as possible. Take your time with taking photos. You want them to look nice. And again, you can use this time while you're taking your photos and creating your listings for all your items to save up for the next step. So now it's time to buy the materials you need to actually physically ship out your item. I do have a whole entire video all about how to ship items. And I talk a lot about like ways to save money through shipping and even ways on how to get free boxes and free poly mailers from USPS. So go watch that video to learn how to get free boxes and stuff, because that will really save you a lot of money for your business. I'll link that video down below. But obviously those free boxes and bubble mailers don't work for everybody. And maybe, you want to add a little bit of flavor to your items when you ship them out. There's nothing wrong with that. I love cute branded packaging. Makes the whole unboxing experience so much more fun, but you don't want to spend too much money into it when you're first starting out, because we're on a budget here. I do think business cards are really important, so you can buy business cards for pretty inexpensive over on Vistaprint. So this is the time you need to buy business cards to add into all your packaging you're shipping out. You also want to look into like what's the cheapest way of shipping. Boxes are pretty expensive, but sometimes you need a box for the type of items you sell. But if you can ship your items in poly mailers, that's the cheapest way to go. You can also add like cute, like branded packaging. Like you can buy branded tape, branded stickers, but those are pretty expensive. So try to find shortcuts to do it more cheaply. For example, I bought, it was like less than $10, a bunch of black little star stickers on Amazon. And this is like a cute little sticker you can add to your packaging to brand it a little bit, add a little bit of flavor. Think of doing things like that instead of buying custom branded stickers, custom branded tape, or just do it simple. Don't add anything to it. As long as the product's good, that's really all the customer truly cares about. But having a more memorable, like fun unpackaging experience is very favored by customers these days. So it's whatever you want to do. I know when I first started out, I bought pink poly mailers because I felt like the pink poly mailers, they were like the same price as black or white, but they still made like a statement, and I feel like added, I don't know, I just remember receiving a pink poly mailer in the mail more than I would receiving a black one. So you can do even something simple like that. Also, you could buy tissue paper. Tissue paper is so inexpensive if you buy it in like bulk, and you can wrap each of your item up in tissue paper to sort of create a gift wrapping experience for your customer. I just have like a list of like random facts that I think will help you start a business on a budget. First one is don't buy things you don't need. I kind of touched on this with the whole packaging and like, I don't know, I feel like I touched on this briefly throughout the whole entire video, but just really think about it. Can your business run without that item? And if so, don't buy it. I actually have a bunch of examples of things that I did to cut costs when I first started out. I first started my business selling my items in plastic instead of glass. I also didn't buy a shipping label printer. If you didn't know, there is like your normal printer, but there's also a shipping label printer, which is a thermal printer. Those are nice, but I actually just got one this year. And I've been in business since 2016, so you don't need a shipping label printer. You might see everyone else have one, but you can just use your normal printer for that. I also used to cut my labels myself instead of buying, what I use now is a Cricut that cuts my labels, but I only recently bought that as well. So if there's something you can do by hand instead of buying like a machine to do it or something, do that. I used to use cheaper paper to print my labels. So I used to use a whole different method of making labels for my products, which wasn't as nice and it wasn't as like fancy and high end, but it was cheaper. Now that I've been in business for a while and as I save up, I can upgrade to all these nicer methods. So obviously there's pros and cons to all of those. Like if you're passionate about selling in glass, sell in glass, but if it's not something that you think is necessary, do what you can. Your business most likely won't be what you always envisioned it to be when you first start out. I've been wanting to share this for a really long time, and I guess I'm doing it now. This is a picture of when I first started, when I was only selling locally. This was before I went onto the internet. And this is what my products look like now. This is always what I envisioned my products to be. And it took about 5 years to get there. As your business grows, you can make it be what you want it to be. That's what happened to me. It took about 5 years to get there, but we doing great now. So just another random tip to pinch pennies is don't give out samples. Although I do always recommend giving out samples when you first start out because it will help your business grow, if you don't have the money, don't give out samples, because if somebody's interested in your items enough, they will buy it. I can't even say how many times I've given samples to people and they don't end up buying anything, so it ended up being a waste of money. This next tip, you're going to have to kind of change your lifestyle. If you want to start a business, you're not going to be able to buy all those like nicer things that you're typically buying. Don't get that Starbucks or Dunkin' in the morning. Make coffee at home, whatever you want to do to save money. Buy the off-brand stuff at the grocery store. Don't go out as much. Well, we can't really go out much anymore anyways, but cut pennies where you can. I could go on and on and on about this. I have a whole video talking about this actually. It's titled like how I was able to start my business or something like that. I'll link it down below. In that video, I talk about how like I bought a really cheap home for only like $5,000. My living expenses were very inexpensive and I was literally putting more money into my business every month than I did into my living expenses because I changed my lifestyle to make it to where I could live cheaply so I could invest in my dream. And although, yeah, I had to live in a very, not the best home, like it wasn't the nicest place at all, I was able to get where I wanted to be by making these sacrifices. So of course, everybody's life is different and this may not be something you can implement, but if you can, make those lifestyle changes. Does your mom and dad want you to move back home into the basement? This might be the time that you move back into the basement and start your business. That way you don't have to pay rent every month. Like seriously, whatever you can do if you're really, really passionate about starting your business, change your lifestyle so your living expenses are cheaper so you can invest in your business. That is really the best advice I think I can give, and that is what got me to where I am today. So another thing you can do, which might not work for everybody, but you can start a Patreon. Patreon is where people can give you money to help support you. Usually you offer something in return. So you could do like behind the scenes content of maybe like videos of you making your items. So whatever you can do to make people want to sign up. You could do like early releases, like the people who are patrons have access to buy items early. They have access to like exclusive coupon codes. They get behind the scenes look at things that are going to come into the future. Whatever your business is, you can try to think of something you can offer on Patreon. Or if you can't think of anything, you can just start up a Patreon and just use it as somewhere where people can support you to help grow your business. Which, if that's the method you want to go with, Kickstarter might be your better option. Now, I've never used Kickstarter, so what I say might be incorrect, but I did do a little bit of research, but correct me if I'm wrong. But Kickstarter is where you set a goal of how much you want to make. And once you reach that goal, you're able to kickstart what you want to create. So if you have this awesome business idea and you're like, hey, people of the social media world, people of my own personal world, whoever you're shouting this out to or telling this to, be like, hey, if once I reach $500, I can use this money to create this business. And with this business, you'll get this and you'll get this and this will be great and I think you'll love it. And if they like that idea and they want that product, they'll invest money into your Kickstarter to help you kickstart your business. This in Patreon is a little bit harder to do. So you'll have to maybe create like an online presence, maybe make like a TikTok, a YouTube channel, a business Instagram, and post about like what you want to create. Get people to like it. Because if people like something and they see something like on the internet, they'll be like, hey, where can I buy this? And you can be like, well, it's not available yet, but it can be if you support me on Kickstarter. So check out Kickstarter if you have an idea for a business that you can't create because you don't have the money, but you think other people will like, so they'll invest money into you to hopefully create that business. So there's been lots of businesses that were able to come into existence because of Kickstarter. So it's definitely something to look into. That's all my advice I have for you guys on how to start a business on a budget. I started my business on a budget like I've been talking about throughout this video, so it is totally possible. I always hear that it takes at least 5 years for a business to be profitable. So if you're not doing well by the 5th year, that might be the time to think like, let's try something else. So businesses need time to flourish. So just like a flower, you plant the little seed, it doesn't become a flower right away. It takes time. So be patient. It takes lots of patience. So you can do it. You got this. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and let me know if you have any questions. Leave them down in the comments, and be sure to show your support for this channel by checking out .store. That's about it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Later.